Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Tuesday. Today is June 13th, and the inflation report is about to be released in 6 minutes. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. We got NASDAQ up about 0.29% during this pre-market session. We have 6 minutes left. It's a little bit over 5 minutes before that CPI data report gets released. 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, or if you're lucky like me, 5:30 a.m. Arizona time. What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Hope that you guys are all doing well. All right. There we go. All right, so during the CPI, or once the CPI data report is released, I will be breaking it down just to have a better understanding of what exactly was just reported. So again, for those that are unfamiliar of what the expectation is, as of right now, we have an expectation or a forecast of 4.1%, and we currently sit at an inflation rate of 4.9%. So according to that, there's an expectation of a 0.2% increase. So, yep, I mean, inflation is expected to go down, year over year. Or for the past 12 months, I'm sorry. Here we go. NASDAQ. Okay. So Ricky on that Arizona time, of course. All right, guys, we have a little bit under 3 minutes left until that CPI data report gets released. One of the things that I'd like to remind our beginner traders is markets should react to and when this report is released. Just, again, don't put yourself in a position in which you cannot tolerate. And if you are in a position right now, you have a chance to either get out, add more, or stay cash. And you do it now before the report actually comes out, or forever hold your peace, right? That's pretty much it. So if you guys want to say what's up to Instagram, here we go. Looks like market's trying to gap up right before the report is released. There we go. We have about a minute and 30 seconds left before that report is released. So admit that you have no clue. Of course, I can't predict the future. I don't think that's news, right? I'm not here to ever predict the future. I'm not here to ever pretend like I can predict the future. So I don't know what your comment is insinuating, but it's kind of like common sense that, no one knows exactly what's going to be reported. But I just know how to read the CPI data report. That's all. But nice flex. Yeah, that's all good. All right, guys, here we go. We got 30 seconds left until that CPI data report is released. So we got NASDAQ up 0.38% as of right now. There it goes. It looks like it's already moving up. We have 10 seconds left. Let's do a quick little countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Let's see which way we go. Should. What are we coming in at? There it goes. Gapping up, gapping up, gapping up. 0.5%. There it goes. 0.65. Okay, 0.7%. There it goes. Let's see what it came in at. It looks like in the month of May, they rose by 0.1%, which seems to be less than what is expected. So we should be at 4% inflation instead of 4.1%. That is lower than expected. Yeah. It's actually not gapping up as quickly as I think we would have expected. How's core CPI? It's not loading. I think the site's a little bugged right now. Is it loading for any of you guys? It won't let me pop it up. All right, here we go. So overall inflation at 4%, and then core inflation came in at 5.3%. So core at 5.3%. We have overall inflation at 4%. So again, expectation was 4.1%. So we did come in a little bit lower than expected. Yep, there it goes. An increase of only 0.1% when the expectation was an increase of 0.2%. I thought that the market would react in a more dramatic way, but it doesn't seem like it. This does, I guess the Federal Reserve knows that they could only affect core inflation, right? So let's look at that. And there it goes, nice push up, nearly at that 0.75% mark. Let's see if we could hit that 1%. Looks like market's pulling on back. Again, could it have been factored in already? Possibly. One thing, again, that we do want to remind you is that, right, market should be pretty volatile today. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the market to choose its direction, especially with, how long it's been since, well, we still don't really know what the Federal Reserve is set to do, right? Because if we have core inflation coming in a little bit higher than expected, but overall inflation coming in lower than expected, it's still uncertain what the Federal Reserve is going to do tomorrow, right? Because that's kind of the big question. It's how does this influence what the Federal Reserve is going to do? And there it goes. It goes back to it. 80.3% probability that the Federal Reserve tomorrow, 1 day, 5 hours and 26 minutes, should be pausing interest rates. So we'll see. Thank you for sharing the live today. Of course, Eric, I appreciate you taking time and joining me. I was going to, if it's okay with you guys, I know we have a few of you guys here. If you guys want me to break down that CPI data report, just to make it super simple to understand, if you guys can just drop a thumbs up and or I can end the live stream here. It's up to you guys. I know some of you guys just wanted to see the market react to that CPI data report. If you actually want to understand what was just reported, then I'd love to break it down for you. I just want to make sure that enough people want me to break it down. So if you can get this video to over 1,000 likes, let's go ahead and break it down. So, all right. There it goes. We're at 300 likes. Yeah, and it looks like core inflation came in pretty much as expected, right? Forecast was 5.3, actual was 5.3, previous was 5.5. Yeah, so core CPI 5.3, overall 5%. Right, here it goes. Yeah, it looks like the market did correct itself a little bit after the report, but remember guys, I mean, we're still in that pre-market session and it's still incredibly bullish, right? From where we even closed yesterday after an amazing run yesterday, NASDAQ forming higher highs and higher lows. I mean, this isn't far-fetched that it could have already been priced in based off of yesterday's rally. But also on top of that, it's not like the market is selling off, right? It's not forming lower lows or lower highs. It's correcting itself. And yeah, I mean, it might not be sold on the idea that it has to continue to rally. But we still don't know 100%. So. So just for those that are tuning on in, and so overall, CPI at 4%. Okay, just for all those that continue to ask, I just pinned it. So loving my LPP t-shirts. Also, it's my second week with LPP. I'm a new member. What's going on, Eric? Happy to have you, and I'm super happy to hear that you're enjoying it. Do you like Intel right now? No, I mean, but again, I'm not someone that normally trades Intel, so I guess I'm not the right person to ask. So core CPI at 5.3% is a problem. It's just not going down as quickly as expected, I would say. I wouldn't say that it's a problem. It's just based off of the big question is, who cares of what I think, right? What do you guys think that Jerome Powell and the head of the Federal Reserve and all of those people, what do you think they're going to think about this like sticky core inflation? What do you think, right? If it's not going down as quickly as expected, like how do you feel about that, right? Because remember, the Federal Reserve cannot influence overall inflation, right? They can only influence core inflation, which is everything less food and energy. So I'll break it down in just a little bit. Again, we only have 740 likes. We need to have over 1,000 likes. So I'll give you guys another 2 to 3 minutes. If it gets to it, we'll break it down. If not, we can just close out the live stream, and then I can just go live with the LPP team. So I'll leave it up to you guys. If you guys want me to continue to go live and break down that CPI data report, and again, just drop a thumbs up. And here it goes. Looks like QQQ trying to gap up once again, 362. CPI was not good. CPI was not bad. I wouldn't view our CPI data report that was just released as a bad CPI data report. Right? Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and break it down. So, again, overall CPI, we had an expectation that in the month of May, it was going to rise by 0.2%, and it only rose 0.1% based off of seasonal adjustment. So this is less than what is expected, right? It makes sense on why the market's reacting in a positive way for overall CPI. When it comes down to everything less food and energy, right? All items less food and energy rose 0.4% in the month of April and end of March. And then we have core CPI coming in at 5.3%. So let's break down the actual month of May. We could see the biggest contributors, right? These are all line items. So this is a new month that was just added. So May 2023, this was the new month that was just added. We took away May 2022. And remember, core inflation is everything less. So everything less this. So all of this is included in overall inflation. Core inflation are just these items, right? So it's just these items right here. So very quickly, I mean, we can go down these line items. So it says all items saw an increase of 0.1%. Food at home saw an increase of 0.2%. Food away from home saw an increase of 0.1. Food away from home 0.5. And then we get into the energy sector, right? So energy came in at a negative 3.6, meaning that we actually saw a drop in the month of May based off of overall energy. And we can see that energy commodities came in at negative 5.6. Gasoline came in at negative 5.6. And it looks like the biggest contributor to the drop was fuel oil. It saw a drop of 7.7. We have, what is this? Energy services, a drop of negative 1.4. We have electricity, negative 1%. We have utility piped gas services, negative 2.6%. And then we saw an increase on two of the line items. We have all items less food and energy. And then commodities less food and energy and commodities saw an increase of 0.6%. We got new vehicles dropping once again. So that's good for used car prices. I mean, it looks like they're still going down. One of the biggest contributors to the jump is this one. Used cars and trucks saw an increase of 4.4%. That's the biggest jump that I've seen on any of these items, right? And this is the second month in a row that used car prices are picking right back up. So that doesn't necessarily support the case of the economy slowing down, but it is what it is, right? We have apparel seeing an increase of 0.3%. We have medical care commodities seeing an increase of 0.6%. We have services less energy services. It's 0.4%. 0.6% is the increase that we saw for shelter. Transportation services 0.8%, and then medical care services actually saw a drop. The really interesting thing about this is that if you look at core inflation, right? Core inflation, everything almost in core inflation, so not including energy and food, which again, the Federal Reserve understands that they cannot control this. They cannot influence this. But it's actually everything that they can't control that is, at least the energy part, right? Energy is seeing a big drop. That means inflation is going down. That's great for energy because energy was the biggest contributor to inflation, right? But core inflation, which is, again, the only real thing that the Federal Reserve can influence, almost all of them came in higher than expected. Out of all of these, there's only two that actually saw a drop, and they were each negative 0.1%. So that's the pretty wild thing about that, is that core inflation, we're not seeing that drop. I would say that maybe the Federal Reserve wants, but it's definitely not bad. Overall inflation is still seeing that, it still came in lower than expected, right? Expectation was 4.1. We came in at 4%. Very simple to understand. Coming in lower than expected. The forecast for core inflation was 5.3%. We came in at 5.3%, supporting the case that core inflation is not coming down as quickly as overall inflation, but still coming down from the prior of 5.5%, right? And that's really just it. So do you guys have any questions about that CPI data report? Anything that I could answer for you? So again, for those that are a little bit newer, remember tomorrow is the FOMC meeting, which is when the Federal Reserve is going to announce an interest rate hike, pause, or cut. As of right now, based off of how the market is reacting and based off of this Fed rate monitor tool, right now it shows that there is a 73.1% probability, and this continues to change as the time goes on. As more things get factored in, but a 73.1% probability that the Federal Reserve will pause rate hikes and stay at the 5 to 5.25. There's a 26.9% probability that the Federal Reserve will announce a rate hike. Okay? So again, the big day is tomorrow because all of these economic reports really add up to the FOMC meetings. And during these FOMC meetings, it's when the Federal Reserve, decides what they want to do, right? We might see it a specific way. The stock market might be factoring something in, expecting the Federal Reserve to do one thing, but they can report something completely different. So I saw a couple people saying that like, oh, this is rigged. These are inflated numbers, or these are, what did they say? These are cooked up numbers. You can think what you want about these reports, right? At the end of the day, your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. Market's reacting in a specific way. You have the option of going with the flow of the market or trying to trade against it, right? We all have the option of choose either side, right? We can go long, we can go short. So at the end of the day, the only person to blame is yourself if you put yourself in a position in which you cannot tolerate, right? But I wouldn't say anything else to talk about. Looks like that CPI data report, at least based off of how the market's reacting and what was just released, it looks bullish. It makes sense on why the market is gapping up. And I'm excited to see how we actually perform once we get into market open, to see if we completely continue to form higher highs and higher lows, or if we actually begin to correct ourselves as we get closer to the actual market open. So again, only time will tell, but I'll see you guys in about, 45 minutes for our live trading session with the LPP team. So I'm going to close this one out, and then we're going to go back to those private live streams. So again, if you want to tune into that, I'm going to be trading live with the LPP team, and that's going to be that second link in the description down below. So other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM via Discord or via Instagram, which is also linked in the description. But again, I work with one team and one team only. I don't offer any other form of help or assistance. It's LPP, which is the second link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. The link for LPP is not working. I'll go ahead and I'll pin it here in the live chat. How does that sound? So in the live chat, you should be able to see it. All right. So thanks, Ricky. That's very helpful. Second week here with LPP, new member. Happy to have you here and glad to see that you're enjoying it. So I'm going to replace the pinned message. So now you should be able to have the link to LPP. We'll leave it at that. Appreciate your time. Hope that we're in a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe. Turn on those post notifications. And for all those that are new and or existing LPP members, I'll see you at Market Open for our live trading session. Remember, that's that second link in the description down below. Take care, team.